أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين سيما بقية الله في الأراضين حجة الحسن العسكري ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. So before going back to the discussion of fasting and niyyah and intention of fasting, we said we'd complete the discussion of taqleed because it's relevant and it needs to happen before ibadat. So some of the issues that people have with taqleed and ijtihad we'll try and answer and cross by in this session. The issue of taqleed, is it in the rawayat, in the ayat of Holy Quran, or is it something that is made up, or is it something that is compulsory, is it something that is better? What is it? First of all, in the last session we explained how if someone does not do taqleed, they're likely to fall into the pitfalls of making the mistakes and making wrong mistakes and doing wrong a'mal. Even if they do the right a'mal, the a'mal may not be accepted. Hence, the only way is taqleed or ijtihad. Now, why taqleed and what is the reason behind it? There is a riwayah from the tafsir of Imam Hassan Askari alayhi salam, depending on the scholar's view on the sanad of the riwayat of tafsir of Imam Hassan alayhi salam, which many ulama, very great scholars, have said that this book, all of the hadith in the tafsir of Imam Hassan alayhi salam are correct as far as the sanad and the narrators are concerned. If we took that path, then yes, there is a riwayah with regards to taqleed. If not, then we have the aql. So we have two resources we usually go back to. Aql and naql. Naql being ayat of the Holy Quran and the rawayat. Aql being the intellect and the brain, not of me and you, but the correct brain, or the brain that's not being disturbed by the environment that is around it and so forth. It is known, and it's a fact, that anyone that lacks knowledge in any field must observe and ask from an authority where there is a higher amount of knowledge within that authority to show them guidance. So, for example, if a person needs to learn the way chemicals work, they would go to a person who studied chemistry. The same with physics. If they want to know physics, they'll go to a physics teacher. For a heart surgery, they'll go to a heart surgeon. For everything else, they would go to the person who's most knowledgeable in that field. The same when it comes to fiqh and usul. There's no different way of thinking about it. When a person needs to understand certain things in fiqh, and regarding the religion, they go to a person who is most knowledgeable and has met all the criteria with regards to being able to convey to them the correct ahkam inda Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, we said this before, that sometimes what is said to be ahkam is possibly a misuse of the word hukum, because hukum is something that is definite, whereas most of the ahkam we have is dawahir, is what is apparent. Fil waqi' inda Allah, we don't know. Yes, something such as prayer, we know 100% is wajib on us. 5 times a day, fasting, we know Ramadan, we have to fast. But many other things is just what is apparent to us. Now, as far as the other issue is concerned that we were talking about, when a person comes to us and says, you know what do I do with regards to taqleed? I've not done taqleed for X amount of time. Can I, for example, begin taqleed of a mayyit, of a dead person? Can I do taqleed of someone less knowledgeable? Can I pay khums to whoever I want without taqleed? And such questions. So first of all, we said taqleed, if we don't accept the rawayah, comes from intellect. The intellect says that a person must look at the most worthy to extract the ahkam from the Holy Quran and the Rawat Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and feed to them. Yes?
What ways do you use to find the most worthy?
The most worthy, ahsantum, either the mujtahideen of the time, Ahl al-Khabra, Al-Khubra can be mujtahideen or people in the ijtihad who have read their books, who have maybe studied under those mujtahids, and they can compare and tell you that this person is more knowledgeable than the other. In many cases, they will refer you to more than one. They'll say, these 2, 3, 4 people are approximately the same level. Maybe if it were pushed, they would say this person is slightly more knowledgeable than the rest. We'll come to, because this is another issue with regards to taqleed, we want to talk about Ramadan and fasting. I don't want to go too deep into with regards to what happens if 2 are the same or 3 are the same or what happens. In any case, so once you have chosen the most knowledgeable, they're able to then give you the ahkam and take it up on their shoulders Yawm al-Qiyamah if there is anything wrong with it. Some people say that, we don't want to do taqleed because we see that the maraji are, for example, not in touch with the issues that we have today, or they live far away. The issues that you do taqleed of are to do with fiqh and usul. Tashkhis al-mawdu', and again I've said this many times, is down to the muqallid, not the muqallad. Muqallad is what? The marja'. Muqallad is the person doing taqleed of the marja'. So for example, a marja' would tell you that يجوز الصلاة في لباس فيه الدم أقل من درهم. If there is blood on your clothing, which is less than a dirham, you can pray with that clothing. Now this is a fatwa pretty much across the board, because we have rawat with regards to it. If you have blood that is less than approximately a finger band, then you can pray with that clothes. Now whether this is blood, or whether it's cranberry juice, or something from a strawberry, this is not the job of marja' to tell you. This is tashkhis al-mawdu'. This comes back to the muqallid. With regards to Eid al-Fitr, a lot of the problems that is here is because of that. People think it's the marja''s position to say, what you're seeing is the moon right now. No, what you're seeing is something else. No, what you're seeing is a shooting star. These 2 people are trustworthy or not. It's up to you to see who is trustworthy, who is not trustworthy, if the moon can really be sighted, if they've sighted the moon, they've not sighted the moon, and so forth. This is tashkhis al-mawdu'. The hukum of where the moon should be seen, and if where it's seen applies to where, that's something different. Okay? So the fact that you can pray with the blood on your clothes, this amount of blood, is what? Is a hukum that you need to do taqleed on. But whether it's blood or something else is down to the muqallid to find out.
How do you know which one is down to you and which one is not?
As I said, it depends on whether it's a mawdu' or a hukum. Mawdu' being...
in terms of the breaking your fast, and if a marja' says, for example, this day is Eid, and someone else comes and says, no, it's the day after the moon's not shone, or something like that, or no, it's the day before we've seen sight of the moon.
See, usually the marja' doesn't necessarily tell you this day is Eid, unless they tell you it's Eid in that particular country they live in. Usually the marja' doesn't say, here's a jadwal, here's a breakdown of where is Eid for every place across the world. What they would tell you is a way to be able to tell if the moon is sighted at XYZ place where there would be Eid. It's not the marja''s position to tell you directly when Eid is. Okay? Now, depending on the people that you think are trustworthy and where it's seen or where it's not seen the moon, where it's sighted or not sighted, then according to the ahkam of the marja', you can say it's Eid or not Eid.
But if you follow a specific marja' and their office says it's Eid on this day, can you go with it, or can you do your own research and do it Eid another day?
Again, if that brings you conviction, whichever one brings you conviction is correct. Between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'd have conviction basically. If I've got a doubt whether this is blood or strawberry juice, between me and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my wife tells me, I just saw you drink some strawberry juice and drop further. And for me, I have conviction that it's strawberry juice, fine. Yawm al-Qiyamah, I will do that. Therefore, there is no need to do taqleed in tashkhis al-mawdu' in certain areas. Now, some people say, for example, that with regards to marja'iyya or taqleed, I don't want to follow a marja' because of their political views. I don't see them as fit and so forth. At the end of the day, the muqallid has to choose whether the muqallid is adil or not, is just or not. If you feel that this person is not just, then go to the person who's a'lam after them, who has all the criteria that you want. It doesn't give an excuse not to do taqleed because you don't agree with them on certain views. If you don't see them as just, it's your right to follow someone else, is fine. The person who's following must have conviction that the marja is just. There's no doubt about it.
Can you change your marja if you find out that someone's more knowledgeable than your marja?
You have to. See, it's an intellectual thing. If you imagine the whole reason behind doing taqleed of the most knowledgeable is that they're least likely to make a mistake. With regards to, for example, one of the reasons and the adillah of the righteousness of the Khilafah in the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayh, is that when you have someone like that is by far more knowledgeable than everything around him and everyone around him, it makes no sense to follow someone less knowledgeable. Because the person who's more knowledgeable is less likely to make a mistake in leading you a right path. Just as when you have heart surgery and you have 3 or 4 doctors, it makes no sense to go to a doctor that is less knowledgeable and less worthy and less experienced, because they're more likely to make a mistake and you die. You would not put your heart surgery in the hands of someone that's just graduated and doesn't have much knowledge. Instead, you go to someone that's far older and does thousands of surgeries. They're far less likely to make a mistake because they're more knowledgeable. So if you're following someone that's less knowledgeable and you realize this, then obviously it makes sense to go to the person that's more knowledgeable. Again, with regards to justice, some people say, you know what, I'm concerned about the way khums is done and the wakala and the representatives. Again, the same thing. You follow a marja who's just. It's your choice to follow a marja who's just. Even if you have conviction this person may be more knowledgeable but does not fit all the criteria, you go to the next knowledgeable person that fits all the criteria. Therefore, there is no excuse in not doing taqleed.
Where the khums is gold.
Sorry?
How do you know who's just with the khums and stuff? It's very blurry.
Again, these things are quite personal. It comes back to the person. At the end of the day, we believe that most of the maraji', may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them a long life, themselves have no interest in the khums. Sometimes maybe someone around them that has misused it or something that's come out with regards to misuse of it. The only time that you can doubt the justness of a marja if it's something directly to do with that marja or that you have seen or you have conviction of. Otherwise, we see the marja'iyya at the moment, the marja' al-a'la in Najaf al-Ashraf, they don't own a house, they don't own anything or anything worldly, therefore they cannot be misused by themselves. Ala kulli hal. The point of the matter is that if for whatever reason you have no conviction of the justness of the marja, you follow the marja who you have conviction that they're just. Yes?
So there's someone who you found out that he's the most knowledgeable, but his aqidah is not straight. Can you follow him? Or?
When you say his aqidah is not straight, so for example, there's certain guidelines. Obviously, there has to be Shia Athna Ashari in the conditions that we said to begin with. It has to be male, it has to be born inside marriage, it has to be most knowledgeable, it has to be just. If you find out that this person, for example, has a particular belief that is outside the realms of the Shia Athna Ashari, then you cannot follow him at all, regardless of whether he's knowledgeable or no. Iblis, la'natullah alayhi shaitan, is the most knowledgeable. Can you follow Iblis? No. So, knowledge within itself is not enough. You need to have taqwa, and you need to have these criteria that we talked about. Hence, whatever takes you out of this circle of being a Shia Athna Ashari removes you from the eligibility of being a marja of taqleed. Anyway, we haven't got time today. Inshallah, we'll carry on tomorrow for the next subject. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala Muhammadin wa ala bayti at-tayyibin at-tahirin.